Madonna. Good evening.
Good evening.
Oh, y'all can do a little better than that. Good evening. Good evening. All right, all right. We are, on the behalf of the Trumbull County African American Achievers Association, we are here to recognize a lady that has dedicated 38 years to this organization. She has unwaveringly continued to support, continue to show dedication, commitment, and perseverance. After her husband Van passed away, it was her that kept this thing going. And so we just kind of got on the back and we said, whatever you need, we're here to support you. So I'd like the mayor to bring Mr. Carolla up.
You go, girl.
She didn't know we was doing that. Come on up. Your hard work and dedication has not gone unnoticed.
That's right.
We taking our time, Bobby.
Hey, take your time. Mr. Williams. And I'm sure the mayor would like to say a few words, but I want to present this on behalf of the Trumbull County African American Achievers Association. We salute you, we are proud of you, and we are happy to be here tonight as we continue to navigate through uncertainty. But one thing's for certain, Ms. Carolla is always here.
Thank you, Brother Davis. And it really is an honor. And welcome, everybody. And it is great to be back. And God has truly blessed this organization in more ways than one. But I think our biggest blessing of this organization comes from this royal lady who sits with us today. When I saw her here, I know she just came back in from Columbia, South Carolina. And I said, as soon as I saw her, we felt safer in the city. We felt more whole. We felt like we had a return to greatness from her arrival. So, Carolla, I'm just so glad to see you again. I remember I'm old enough to remember when this organization started, and what a warrior her husband was to get this organization to where it is today. He planted seeds that these great people are carrying out, and we continue to walk in his legacy, but we're blessed to still have Carolla with us. So Carolla, on behalf of Warren City Council has me doing work for them now, but I don't mind. And I want to thank Councilman White, who's dropped this off and made sure that it was here for this great occasion. And it simply says, whereas Ms. Carolla Williams, the chairwoman of the Trumbull County African American Achievers Association, took over a dream that her husband, the late Van Williams, started. She kept the organization together with a strong team that worked together with her. She has helped make a difference in our community, and I can vouch to that. Ms. Williams has continued the mission of the African American Achievers Association to benefit the public interest in promoting education and by preserving our heritage, our culture, to promote ethnic homecoming events, to lessen neighborhood tensions, and to promote brotherhood. It is a mission of the organization chaired by Mrs. Williams to have a strong commitment to education and provide scholarships for Trumbull County, Ohio students, residents, and to assist in developing and supporting programs aimed at strengthening our community. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of Warren hereby honors and appreciates the efforts of Ms. Carolla Williams in keeping the dream alive that her late husband, Mr. Van Williams, had when he founded the African American Achievers Association. sponsored by Ron White, 7th Ward Councilman. God bless you all, and thank you, Corolla. This is what I usually do, and I don't have a proclamation, but I'm going to take the executive privilege at this time to hereby proclaim today, Corolla Williams Day in the city of Warren, Ohio.
All right.
Come on, it's good more than that.
All right, let's go roll.
Say anything? No.
That much.
Thank you.
Just like to thank everyone for whatever they do, buy a ticket, help on the organization, and they still need help. To give some of the members your name and phone number so you can have work with them.
Thank you.
As you can tell, Ms. Corolla wasn't expecting that. Can we give her another round of applause? When Ms. Corolla left the podium, she said, you know, those of you out there, that the Trumbull County African American Achievers Association needs your help. She was very sincere in saying that. Look at the list in the beginning of your program book and see all the people who have been honored and placed in our Hall of Fame. There's a lot of folks in our community who have done great things, and we need to be appreciative and acknowledge accordingly. But this is time for you to step up. Take a little bit of your time. Scholarship, education, and also pledging this magnificent dinner and the festival that will be coming up in June. So let's get ready for that. And we need your help. So give us your card, get in touch with one of us, and we'll gladly have you along. And now dinner will be served. We're going to have the head tables served first, and then the staff and the management of DDSAs is going to come around and call each table. And we'll see you after dinner.
More time. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. All right, now we're family. My name is Desiree Timms. I'm President and CEO of Innovation Ohio, and I am so thrilled and honored to be with you all tonight to celebrate the new inductees for the Trumbull County African American Achievers Association and to join you all for dinner and a conversation on COVID in the workplace and what's happening in our country, in our state, and in our community. There's a saying that I'm sure many of you all in this room know. When America has a cold, Black America has the flu. So what happens when America has a pandemic? Somebody said to die. In 2020, essential workers saved America. When many people were afforded the opportunity to work from home, to stay safe, it was the essential workers who kept the world running. My mother is a nurse. I watched her go to work time and time again, running out of PPE, hoping and praying that she would have a mask when she arrived at work. There were stories like my mother, stories like my cousins who worked in the grocery stores. When the parking lot was filled at 4 a.m., we were running for toilet tissue in a pandemic. We all heard the word and the term essential worker throughout 2020, but who are America's essential workers and what do they do? Essential workers are grocery store clerks, bus drivers, janitors, gas station attendants, postal workers, bank employees, health home aides, food service workers, and others who continue to go to work every single day despite the dangers and the uncertainties of COVID. Let's take a moment of silence for the people we knew who worked in those roles, who had different jobs, who are not here, who didn't have the opportunity to fight for toilet paper or toilet tissue in the store because they succumbed to COVID-19. So let's just take a minute and a moment to honor those who are no longer with us tonight. Thank you. These workers never stopped providing needed services, even as the world was changing before our eyes. Oftentimes they went to work not knowing what to expect, people refusing to wear a mask, people coughing in their place. There was a bus driver in Michigan, in Detroit, where a woman got on the bus, she coughed. She thought it was a joke. Maliciously, the bus driver asked her to put on her mask. She wouldn't do it. He died from COVID-19. Weeks later. These people showed up to make sure we can get to and from our destinations. These people showed up to work overtime in the hospitals to make sure you could come back home to your family, to make sure that you would survive on a ventilator. There are hospital workers who manually pumped the ventilator to make sure air was going back into people's lungs. In many cases, these jobs have been historically overlooked and underappreciated. A once-in-a-lifetime pandemic, which we are all still living through right now, has ravaged our communities. It has taken away time from our loved ones, and it has forced us indoors when we oftentimes want to be outside. The COVID-19 pandemic has inspired an outpouring of gratitude and support. This has been an opportunity to see the best in each other. Unfortunately, we've also seen the worst in our neighbors. But think about how every night we watched the news, we came together, and we talked about and we understood how we are all in this together. Just one person with COVID on an airplane can infect an entire nation. When we hear about a new strand in another country, we know it's only a matter of days, if not weeks, that it will be here too, on our shores, on our land. This is something that is so important because it shows just how truly connected we all are as people, as human beings. When we talk about workers and people who are on the front lines, those are the people who are often overlooked. The pandemic has cast a spotlight on the indignity that millions of essential workers face as they perform jobs vital to the country without earning a wage that allows them to meet their basic expenses. The same grocery store clerks who are working overtime, showing up in the middle of a pandemic with plastic in front of them that separates you, can't afford the grocery bill that they are charging on the computer. Even as low-wage essential workers perform jobs that allow the rest of us to survive, their meager pay makes it difficult for millions of them to survive. I know going to work despite the unknown wasn't easy, nor was it comfortable, and I'm sure it forced many economic circumstances and hardships for those people. But showing up was honorable and vital to get us through. The essential workers kept food on our tables, gas in our cars, and necessary supplies stocked. If you know an essential worker, if you have an essential worker in your family, I want you to clap your hands for them. If you are an essential worker, I would like you to stand up. Let's clap Black and brown workers were hit hardest by COVID. I'm going to say that again because we're at the African American Achievers Association dinner. I said black and brown workers were hit the hardest by COVID. They lost their jobs at higher rates, have had trouble getting hired back after COVID. They lost their PTO, their sick days, they didn't get overtime. They lost their housing, they got behind in their mortgage payments and their car notes, they couldn't afford the gas. They had to stay home with kids who couldn't go to school, so someone missed out on a paycheck, on income. After the worst of the pandemic, the unemployment rate for Black Americans was 9.2% and Hispanic 7.4%, far higher than white workers at 5.2%. Essential workers during the pandemic were more likely to be Black and brown and women. They didn't have the luxury of working from home. They were forced to risk their health to pay their bills. But many ended up leaving work due to illness and needing to care for sick loved ones. The COVID pandemic has made existing disparities in our country worse. When I started off this conversation tonight, I said when America has a cold, Black America has the flu. I said if America has a pandemic, what does that mean for us? It means a lot. It means that it's still going. When the pandemic wraps up, we're still fighting for the very basic needs because the existing disparities were exasperated. They've cared for children and loved ones. We've risked COVID exposure to work the front lines from grocery stores and emergency rooms. And we've struggled to find jobs to pay a living wage after being laid off, after the jobs left our community, after corporations decided to take their tax breaks and go somewhere else. We know what that looks like right here at home. I'm from Dayton, Ohio, so it's a town very, similar to this part of the state. Homes foreclosed on, cars repossessed, industry after industry leaving town, but we stayed. We know what it looks like when people bail on us. This isn't new. What we're talking about, the pandemic is a new experience, but many of these experiences aren't new. In fact, when I thought about tonight, I thought about Martin Luther King's speech in Memphis. And I want to share a few words from Dr. King and what he said, verbatim. With Selma and the Voting Rights Bill, one era of our struggle came to a close and a new era coming to being. Now our struggle is for genuine equality, which means economic equality. For we know now that it isn't enough to integrate lunch counters. What does it profit a man to be able to eat at an integrated lunch counter if he doesn't earn enough money to buy a hamburger and a cup of coffee? What does it profit a man to be able to eat at the swankiest integrated restaurant when he doesn't earn enough money to take his wife out to dine? What does it profit one to have access to the hotels of our city and the motels of our highways when we don't earn enough money to take our family on vacation? What does it profit one to be able to attend an integrated school when he doesn't earn enough money to buy his children school clothes? And so we assemble here tonight. And you have assembled for more than 30 days, Dr. King said. And he said, we are tired. We are tired of being at the bottom. We are tired of being trampled over by the iron feet of oppression. We are tired of having to live in dilapidated substandard housing conditions where we can't and don't have wall-to-wall carpets, but so often end up with wall-to-wall rats and roaches. We are tired of smothering in an airtight cage of poverty in the midst of an affluent society. We are tired of walking the streets in search for jobs that do not exist. We are tired of working our hands off, laboring every day and not even making a wage adequate to get the basic necessities of life. We are tired. We are tired of our men being emasculated so that our wives and our daughters have to go out and work in the white lady's kitchen, leaving us unable to be with our children and give them the time and attention they need. We are tired. We are tired. We are saying now is the time. Get the word across to everybody in power in this time, in this town, that now is the time to make real promises of democracy. Now is the time to make an adequate income a reality for all of God's children. Now is the time for City Hall to take a position for that which is just and honest. Now is the time for justice to roll down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream. Now is the time. Never forget that freedom is not something that is voluntarily given by the oppressor. It is something that must be demanded by the oppressed. I'm going to say that one more time. Never forget that freedom is not something that is voluntarily given by the oppressor. It is something that must be demanded by the oppressed. Freedom is not some lavish dish that the power structure and the white forces in policy-making positions will voluntarily hand out on a silver platter, while the Negro merely furnishes the appetite. If we are going to get equality, if we are going to get adequate wages, we are going to have to struggle for it, said Dr. King. I thought the irony in that address is that we are still in the same fight.
That's right.
We are tired, and we know that this is still the time. The moment is still right to fight for adequate wages. The moment is still right to fight for economic equality. The moment is still right to stand up and fight back against the oppressor. The moment is still right now to fight for democracy, because we are tired. But what we also know is I cut down a piece of Dr. King's address. He started with Selma and the Voting Rights Bill. One era of our struggle came to a close. We are standing here on this day in 2022, and I'm telling you that voting rights is back on the agenda.
All right, come on, talk about it.
So not only are we behind the time that Dr. King gave these words before a group of people in Memphis, Tennessee, 60 years ago, we're still fighting for the economic equality portion of his address. 60 years later, voting rights, democracy, economic equality, fighting for what we deserve, an adequate wage, seeing black and brown bodies in refrigerated trucks in a pandemic in New York City and cities across this country, the wealthiest country in the nation, in the world. We are seeing devastation for our community 60 plus years later, and we are tired. So I take great pride and privilege, and I'm the granddaughter of sharecroppers who migrated to Ohio from the deep South. The first in my family to go to law school, work in the White House, work in the Capitol. Thank you. And I knew the lunch ladies in the Capitol who looked like my grandmother and my aunties from Southeast DC. And I knew the bus drivers in Dayton and in Cincinnati when I was in college and undergrad. And I knew the nurses in the schools who looked like my mother. And I knew the grocery store clerks who were there at all the time at all odd hours of the night. These are not people you walk by. My degrees don't separate me from you. We are all in this together, just as we discovered during the pandemic. One person can infect the entire world. Let's infect each other with righteousness, with the time to do right, with energy, because we are tired, but we can't give up. Because clearly, giving up or getting too tired, you start to see that the Selma and the Voting Rights Bill pop back up on the agenda. So we are in the fight of our lives right now. Register a neighbor to vote. Tell your story. Tell them why they are here. Tell them why economic equality is still on the agenda, why voting rights is still on the agenda, why you are still here tonight championing the good work of your community and all the achievements that you all are doing. To the young people here, keep going, keep fighting. Our future, our legacy is your future and your legacy. I stand on the shoulder of giants. You all stand on the shoulder of giants. And we hope to be the giants that allow the next generation to stand on our shoulders. Thank you all so much for having me.
I don't know what happened. You know, maybe the microphone system was still shocked at what Desiree said. Okay, which we should be. If I can say to you, thanks Bob, whatever you're doing, thank you. If I can say to you, she mentioned something about voting. You know, that is still on the table now, you guys. Okay, the John Lewis law, voting right, that was like voted down. It didn't pass. Hello. We should be angry about that.
Yeah.
At least I'm angry about it, and I don't get angry that often. But it should be something that we should be aware of and do something about. Thank you, Brother Bob. Hey, all right. So again, Desiree gave us a great message, and we need to heed it, if you know what I'm saying. But let's continue on with our program. Now is the great time to honor those that are being inducted into our Hall of Fame. If I can, I'll start right in the order that I've got it. And our first inductee is Quint Flowers. He is being presented by Robert Davis and Eddie Cole. Oh, sorry, Director, I demoted him. What's wrong with me?
Take that picture.
Okay, right? Quinn, congratulations. Quinn, would you like to say a few words, sir?
Go, Quinn.
I would like to congratulate my fellow honorees.
All right.
I would like to congratulate and thank my family. Always teaching me how to be respectful, have empathy for people, and just always being supportive. I would like to thank my mom. Always putting up with me when I'm on my Malcolm Farrakhan rants. For being understanding when I would come home without my hat and coats because I gave them away to somebody that's fortunate. You know, this job is, you know, it was tough when it first started. You know, I had to make a decision. You know, it was a scary time. I had to dig deep and talk to the Lord about it. You know, once I had that conversation, everything was good. It's been good ever since. So, you know, it's always good when you can help somebody in need, and I'll continue to do what I can when I can. Thank you.
Congratulations, Quinn. And we're going to get a picture with Quinn. And our director, Mr. Colbert. Thank you very much. Congratulations again. And I think, Robert and Eddie, you're going to stay up here for the next one, aren't you? Which the next person is Adrian Green. Adrian has worked with the Trumbull Correctional Institution for the last, it's 22 years?
22 and a half.
You only look like you're 22. What's up with that? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At the wrong time.
One more. Got it.
Okay.
And she and Quinn are both a part of my church, Grace AME.
I would like to thank the Trumbull County African American Achievers Association for this honor. I would like to thank God for keeping me COVID-free.
All right, take your time.
My mom, who is not here with me today, 5 months ago yesterday, she left me. But I'd like to thank her for everything she taught me to give, to be a giving person. I worked a lot of overtime during the pandemic because others didn't want to take the pandemic home to their family. I didn't want to do the same. My daughter cannot be vaccinated because she has medical allergies, so she can't be vaccinated. I'd work 16-hour days. I would transport the COVID tests to Columbus for testing of the inmates. Come back and work an 8-hour shift. Come home, go straight to the basement, take off my uniform, put it in the washer, take a shower, hose it down with Clorox each and every day. And I thank God for keeping me safe during that time. Working is what we call the concrete jungle, because it became very aggressive. The inmates became very aggressive during this time because they were afraid, because we were bringing it into them. And right now, my co-workers and I are still waiting to get hazard pay, because the governor and the director of prisons, when they announced a state of emergency, they came up with the idea of giving us just a percentage that equals $8 daily instead of $8 along with our hourly pay. So our union is still in arbitration trying to get us our money. So I thank God, like I said, each and every day for keeping me COVID-free still to this day. And I thank you all.
Thank you, Adrian. Let me get a picture there. You know, the host is not supposed to cry. But when she mentioned this earlier, you know, I just almost lost it there. Thank you, Director Colbert, and thank you, Brother Bob. Our next presenter is Pastor Todd.
Compliment now.
Get up here. And our next awardee, an inductee, Kim Johnson. Kim, congratulations.
Yeah.
From what I understand, Kim does a heck of a lot. And I'm just going to tell you, he and Hortons have like pages. What don't you do, bro? Okay? But he's a great person in our community, a great representative to our young folks in our community. Would you like to say a few words?
Pastor Todd said he was going to take a vacation because I spoke so well. Good evening, everyone. First, I want to give my thanks to God for bringing me to this far in my journey. Secondly, I want to thank the Trumbull County African American Achievers Association for nominating me and my fellow inductees for this prestigious honor. Third, to my family, my wife Sierra, my children, siblings, and grandchildren. A huge portion of this award goes to each of you for the sacrifices you all have made for me to have the time and opportunities to do the things that I have done to receive this award. I am forever grateful. Thank you, and I love y'all. I can't name everyone that assisted me along the way, but I will be remiss if I didn't call out a few people. Greg Jackson and Ron Brown. You gentlemen allowed me to assist you all with middle school basketball and open the door for me to do a lot of the things that I've been able to do. Thank you, Andre Clark Sr. and Ronald Ware Sr. Fellas, the years on the sideline and in the locker room with you all, we had a saying, you can't make it up. Thank you both for everything. Steve Arnold, the Godfather, Frankie Parker, Don Emerson, and Stanley Elkins. Those gentlemen allowed me the privilege of being on their team to do a lot of things in this city. Thank you, men, for allowing me to be part of your team. My guy, Mike Mitchell, I call him the captain. This brother, when I tell you he's a phenomenal man, he's my go-to guy. He's in partnership with one of our inductees, Mr. Lou West. They run a tight ship down there at the downtown Room Lodge. But thank you, Mike, for being the guy you've always been to me. Last but not least, it is with great appreciation I walk into my place of honor next to my son, Miles Winston Johnson. He walked into this Hall of Fame 2 years ago. Thank you all. I appreciate everybody. Thank you.
All right, Kim.
He's taking his picture, but I want to just tell you, he came prepared. When he said, I'm not going to give, pull out a whole 2 sheets of paper, ready. And you know, that's somebody, don't be ready, get ready. He was ready, okay, he was ready. Our next recipient and person that will be inducted into the Trumbull County African American Achievers Hall of Fame is Dr. Ruth Quarles. Dr. Ruth is also my sorority sister, but she's a doctor extraordinaire.
All right.
And Ruth, I want to offer you congratulations on all that you do for our community, especially for the patients that are like us.
Thank you very much. I want to give thanks to God, who is the head of my life and keeps me pointing north. He keeps me pointing north. I want to thank the Trumbull County African American Achievers Association for this honor, and I accept it on behalf of all of those who will never be recognized, those who will never be appreciated, those who will never be applauded, because they are not appreciated. I accept this award. I was not in the trenches. I went to work. I saw my patients. I came in contact with COVID. But I was never in the areas where people were breathing their last breath. I was never in the places where people were dying, were so sick that they couldn't lift their heads. I was never there. But I had colleagues who were. You had family and friends who were there. We're not done with COVID. The extremes may be over, But we're not done with COVID. So I have a question for you. Have you done your part? Have you been vaccinated? Have you been vaccinated? You need to do your part. Get vaccinated. Get all your vaccinations. Do what you can to keep yourself healthy. There's a vaccination clinic coming up March the 5th at Second Baptist Church, 11 to 2. If you haven't been vaccinated, show up and get your vaccine. In addition, I'd like to salute all of our scholarship recipients. I congratulate you, and I congratulate all the youth in the room, those who are graduating, those who are not quite graduating. And my encouragement to you is that you be a lifetime learner. Don't get through high school, don't get through college, but be a lifetime learner. Let that be your goal, because what you learn, nobody can ever take from you. What you learn for yourself, nobody can take that from you. I thank you for this opportunity, and I say, keep it up. We're well, we're healthy. Get your vaccinations. Thank you.
And thank you. Ruth, want to give you your copy of your cover board. Thank you, Pastor Todd, and our new first ward councilman. Our next presenter is 7th Ward Councilman Ron, and he'll accompany Bob Davis there. Our next award winner and inductee in the Trumbull County African American Achievers Hall of Fame is Lewis West. From what I understand, Lewis is a person who gets things done. He is in charge and the co-owner of the Downtown Grooming Lounge. He is the son of Lori and Victoria West, engaged to Candace Eddington, and the father of 3 daughters and 3 sons. Congratulations, sir, for being a wonderful example of an African American achiever.
I just want to say, I didn't come prepared. Anybody who know me knows that I've been thinking about this for like 2 months now. And I knew it was going to come to this, and like, I can't do it. But, I just want to thank everybody that came out. You know, too many people to name. I got my immediate family over there and a bunch of friends and everybody I consider family. So I just want to say thank you and keep it short. Appreciate it.
And anybody who's got a beard like that, you know they got to be a good groomer. I'm just saying. Our next recipient and inductee into the Trumbull County African American Achievers Hall of Fame is Hortense Wood. She's so well known in the community. Congratulations, Hortense. And we know that you're going to do great things as you have done as a registered nurse and all the great things that you're doing as a first responder for our community. Have a few words. Up here.
Thank you, everyone. So I want to start off first by thanking the Trumbull County African American Association for this honor. I would like to congratulate all the inductees, and I would like to say congratulations to the students who are receiving the scholarships. I wish you all the best in your endeavors. Thanks to my family, my husband Edgar Wood, my daughters Kimberly Wood, Bridget Ellery, and Courtney Johnson. Those are the people who have taken me over the road. Each and every day of my life, I've had some help along the way. Thank you, God, for woke me up every morning and sent me on my way. So I'm going to just I've listed a few people that I really want to thank, that I met along the journey I have been taking for many years. I met a woman in the locker room of St. Elizabeth's Hospital, Fanny Duke, when I was a nursing student. She's present tonight. Thank you, Fanny. Another at St. Elizabeth's Hospital on the floor once I graduated from that first School of Nursing, Anita Watkins. Another nurse who lives and resides in Texas at the age of almost 92. She was my first mentor. So as I moved along in my career, continuing my education through much encouragement from my mother, who was a nurse's aide at St. Joe's Hospital, and said to me, you need to go back to school. You need to stay in school. The LPNs were then going on to become RNs. I went off to school, to college, to Youngstown State, where I met a classmate who we are friends today, and she is also present, and that would be Sharon Bufford at the time, Sharon Nwanko, she's present. I had her studying at Youngstown State, we studied together and we were struggling, but we never gave up. So along my journey, I kept moving on, and I also met others that I want to mention that was very important in my life. I worked in a medical center, which at that time was called Health Maintenance Plan, which moved on to Trumbull Mahoney Medical Group. There was 2 doctors there that was very instrumental in passing something on to me that I could take through my nursing career. Dr. Quarles was one of those doctors, and she's one of the inductees that was just up here. And Dr. Sharon George, who is probably present in the house tonight, I hope so. Those are the 2 that I worked side by side for a number of years, and I have learned so much from those doctors. Dr. Quarles, and she may not remember this, but she's the person who actually taught me more how to work and assist in the treatment of African Americans with hypertension. As I moved on in my career, I worked many places, but I decided through the encouragement of my father that when the new prison, Trumbull Correctional Institution, was opening up, that I would go there to become an RN. I was hired in as the first RN up under the Director of Nursing, and I remained there for a number of years. There was one person in my life that I need to pass on to, and his name was Will Golar, who assisted me here while I was working there. I also want to mention some people that have been in my career with the teaching. One of them was a Dolores Johnson, RN. She was very instrumental when I got hired in as a teaching instructor, nursing instructor. That is one of the people that she was not unable to attend, but I highly respect. I started with some health fairs in the area, which I have presently did all up until the pandemic hit. And I want to just thank Mr. Eugene Walker, because he was one of the persons that helped me place a lot, or could take a lot of those health care items as giveaways to the health fairs. I want to thank him. He's present tonight. So there's been many people along my journey that I just want to bring up in this area, or the Youngstown area. And one of them also is a Jean Griner that's here. She put me in a book, has my story in the book. And I would like to thank her very, very much, as mentioned in my biography. I decided to become a nurse at 13 years old. I just want you to know. And I stayed on that track. My mom and dad encouraged me, and I went on and I went through nursing schools. And I want to remind the young people, when you got something on your mind that you want to do, stay focused on that. You can do anything that you really want to do. Just stay focused on the right track, stay in school, get the education that you are afforded to have today. So as I have traveled this journey, I have prayed and I thank the Lord. And I hope that as I have traveled, I have touched someone's life in some kind of way. Thank you.
Congratulations, Horton. And if I can, she has big old paper too. And I'm gonna tell you, this is small writing on here, Horton.
8.5.
I was like, okay now, we still have to give out the scholarships to the students, Horton. Congratulations. You know how to let go. I'm just saying. Well now, this is a great part for me, and that is our students that will be honored. And we have 4 of them that will be receiving scholarships on behalf of the Trumbull African American Achievers Association. First, I would like to call upon Reverend Quentin White, my pastor. Congratulations to Michaela, or is it Michaela? Michaela Bryant. And this you're for Melina? Okay, for Melina Healthcare. I'm sorry. I apologize. Get it together, Madonna. Okay, I apologize. And that's Melina Health. And did you see those little bottles of hand sanitizer? And the earplugs? All for Melina Healthcare. Can we get a round of applause? Now, is your student here? Oh, someone is here to represent her. Please come on out. And they're going to take your picture with the... Oh, she has the student's speech. So come on out.
Good evening. I'm not Michaela Bryant, but I represent her. Everybody knows I'm not a student. Michaela says, I am honored to be a recipient of the Trumbull African American Association Achievers Scholarship. I would like to thank all of my family and my friends who have pushed me and believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. I am so grateful for all the help that I received. Thank you to the Trumbull County African American Achievers Association This is a blessing and a surprise. I am sorry that I could not attend. I am currently in Kentucky supporting my little sister and her cheer team, Cheer Image Icons. I appreciate everyone for the support. Thank you.
And they're going to get the picture of the check, with the check. We want to give thanks again to Melina Healthcare and Grace AME Church with Reverend Quentin White. We also want to thank the memory of Irma Edmondson, Adrienne and Kiera Green. Congratulations and thank you for donating to the scholarship.